I went to bed a happily married newlywed and woke up the next day a widow. An early morning kiss and an I love you, and I see you tonight. We all knew where we were that day. It was a clear, blue, cloudless sky. Warm day, hint that summer was not over. Yet, in a New York minute, life would change forever. For myself, nothing would ever be the same. Today, we have a world-class memorial and museum to remember those lost on September 11, 2001. How did it happen in the heart of Manhattan? Let me tell you that story. Yes, God made it happen. And 20 years later, it is time to tell my story. Or is it his story? Where do I begin? Once upon a time.
Hello. Hi, how are you? So nice to see you. Oh my God.
Oh, Monica, what a treat to see you. I'm so happy.
I think you're the treat.
Oh,
I'm so
no.
honored. I'm so honored for you to be, I'm learning how to do the Zooming and podcast world. And I'm so honored that you will be my first official guest. I mean, we'll launch it at some point, but I have to figure that out. See, I'm in the early stages of learning how to do this. So we're so excited that you've been around from the beginning, and as we approach the 20th, what do you think? I mean, looking back on the memorial, like the process, like with all the stakeholders and the museum and why it took so long. I mean, the best things take a long time, but what do you really think? Like because now that's what I'm doing. I'm looking back and going to see like how amazing the accomplishments of it still shocks me, even though I was in it.
Right. So, right. You were in the middle of it. You were one of the principal advocates for it. I was so pleased when then Governor Pataki appointed you to, the committee. And look, it did take a long time. There was a lot to work through. But the end result is magnificent. Both the museum itself, which I think is a living memorial, and then the outside with all the names, with the water feature, with the trees. It's such a peaceful, restful place that is really a kind of living tribute to everyone we lost. And I don't think it would have turned out exactly the way it did, which I really like, without people like yourself who, were speaking for the families, who could remind, everybody who was raising money and planning it and trying to build it, what this was really about, that it wasn't just another building in Lower Manhattan. This was a, really sacred place. And I think it turned out beautifully. I hope you're happy with it.
Well, I am. That is, as you say, happy, that's my happy place. And, people, with not having remains of Michael still, I know he's there. He's one of those 8,000 in that space. And I feel him when I go there. I connect with him. I get chills just talking about it, because I don't know what I would have done without it. I have to be honest. I wouldn't have been able to sustain this nightmare if I didn't have the place to go and honor him. People don't understand, when you have no body, you want to go where they took their last breath, their last step. It is so important for me. I go now, I don't just go for 9/11. I go on his birthday on 9/8. He'll be 57. We always go every year. We celebrate. We bring Merlot. We have, we like Merlot. I was not a fan. It stains my teeth. So it's funny. So I say, I'm doing this for you, and it's really nice because we can celebrate life, not death.
That's exactly right, Monica. That's what it gives you. Yes. A chance to, remember, of course, but more than that, really celebrate his life and to mark these occasions. Sometimes when I've gone in the past, I haven't been there, since the pandemic, sadly. It's one of the reasons why I'm so looking forward to the 20th. But when I would go there in the past, you could see people would leave things. They would leave little mementos. They would leave photos. They would leave a graduation picture of a child that had been very young and had now graduated from high school or college. And, at first there was a feeling like, oh, hey, we don't want that stuff to be there to, interfere with the beauty of the design. But I think a very respectful approach was worked out, where things can be left and then they are collected for the museum's archives, which is a great compromise. So yes, go drink the Merlot, leave a glass there for Michael.
He's always happy. We get the sun every time, and it's so nice because now it's just so moving when you go there. I mean, you feel good about you've been in the museum a few times, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I
you
certainly
feel
have.
It represents what we're trying to say about that day.
Yes, I mean, because it's a great combination of objects which have been collected with stories to tell. And, a lot of videos, a lot of, footage and interviews and ways of, getting even more voices into it. And I see it as an evolving institution. I don't think it's frozen in time. And that's why I want to keep, the focus on it and make sure that it continues to get the support it needs, because, I do think that this should be a constant memory, and not just, here, we did it, we built it, that's it, but keep it going.
Right, because we have, we have future generations now. I actually did an interview with someone from the UK, and she was too little. She got a good perspective now, but I keep telling you, we have to keep right with the future generations, keep telling the story.
100%. I actually had that experience, Monica, and I have to say, it was so shocking to me. And then I stopped and thought about it. I had a young woman, very young woman, who worked for me on a big project along with a lot of other young people, who said to me, was 9/11 really a big deal? I mean, she had like no idea. And I got to thinking, and this is maybe something that we can ask the museum to consider doing, what is being taught about 9/11? What is the curriculum about 9/11? If there is one, does it include voices like yours and voices of those who were truly most directly affected? So that's something that, I'm going to raise with, the museum, because of this experience that I had with this young person who never encountered it, except, I guess, we were attacked on 9/11. It was terrible. Let's move on. And I want it to be more of the human story that, young people are exposed to.
And I do know that they, on 9/11, they do reach out globally, and it's like a Zoom and around them. And they call in on 9/11 and they help teachers. There are actually, I think they're making it a mandate to implement that in the curriculum, because before it was optional. So I think now, the push is to mandate it in all schools globally.
I think that's a really good idea, because otherwise,
I really need to talk to them as well and tell them. I agree with you. I think sometimes they forget the personal story, and they need a little more of that. So that is a
well, that's what young people respond to these days. Yes, I mean, even showing them clips of some of the videos that have been recorded for the museum, something that young people can respond to. I mean, 10-second videos, 15-second videos is how so much of them communicate.
Right. And I know for a fact, like my documentary that you were so amazing in, it's helped a lot of people. I send that to people. That's how I do it. I say, watch the documentary. You will learn a ton on just that.
Good.
One, because I have different levels of time on it. So it makes it easier. You can see enough, or you see more. So it was very good. I mean, that was like the best. Everybody's like always like, Hillary Clinton.
Have you posted that? Have you posted your?
What I do with that.
Have you posted your documentary online?
Well, I send it out.
Okay. Think about posting some of it online.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out the problem,
because I think we have to try to reach.
Well, the museum, you should talk to them, because I've tried to tell them. Meanwhile, I'm on the board. I've said, you need to show that in the museum. That was the whole purpose of the documentary.
I will talk to them about that.
You are in charge, because they have not done it. Can you believe it? I'm like, just do it in the museum, and people will come and see it. You're correct. People respond to the personal story. She got a lot out of my story, just been doing this interview. She's like, wow, I learned so much. So that's the same thing. You have to be in charge, because somehow they they don't understand that. I don't know
Okay,
why.
I'll do my best to make that case.
Yeah, and I think they'll listen to you personally.
I'll try.
If they don't listen to you, I don't know who they will. So, but you know, getting back to this pandemic, and I'm curious, as we approach the anniversary, kind of like the pandemic it was like a wake up call, like 9/11 was, you know, and you know, you're either manifesting some sort of spirituality. Have you seen, like, I feel like I've gotten I'm very close to God as it is, but I feel like my faith has really helped sustain me through this nightmare between the 9/11 and the pandemic. Because we've lost friends and family, and you know, I feel for the people, you know, who are like in Surfside now, and you know what's going on in Afghanistan. So I feel like, have you felt that with yourself and your family? Have you gone to your faith a little more closer? You know, like how, I'm just curious of your feelings on that.
I think that's absolutely my experience. You know, I've joked that I've always been a person of faith, but once I got into politics, if I hadn't been, I would have become one, because I don't know how you sustain being active in the world with all the ups and downs, with all of the disappointments and joys. I don't know how you stay optimistic and hopeful if you aren't a person of faith. And of course, we all define that differently, but that spiritual nourishment that I think is so essential to help people keep going through dark times is something that I lean on a lot, because, you know, it can be discouraging. It can be depressing. You know, as we're speaking, I'm so terribly sad about what's happening in Afghanistan. That's, you know, not about the decision to withdraw. I understand that was, you know, a tough decision, but about, you know, all the people who are desperately trying to get out, especially the women and girls, because of what they have good reason to believe is going to happen to them. And you've got to remain hopeful and optimistic, but you have to then, in my view, channel that faith and optimism and hope with action. So, you know, I'm trying to help get as many women and girls out as I can. I'm working with a lot of other people who feel the same way. And that's what you did. I mean, you harnessed your faith, your spirituality, your determination, your resilience, with a public agenda. You know, I knew so many of the victims, you know, so many of the widows and widowers, and, you know, children who lost a parent, people who lost loved ones, good friends. I got to know so many over the course of the time I was in the Senate and working almost exclusively on this. And some people, as you know so well, Monica, just could not keep going. They were beyond devastated, and they just couldn't find the energy. You know, one time I literally sent a young woman working for me to go to a widow's house out on Long Island and knock on the door, forcing her to get out of bed and come open the door. Because we kept being called by her friends, saying that she wouldn't come out of the house. She wouldn't even get out of bed. And her friends, you know, felt so helpless. And I actually had some paperwork she needed to sign for the Victims' Compensation Fund. So I had an excuse. So we called, and she wouldn't answer the phone. And finally, I sent a young woman who just finally, you know, just made her get up and open the door. Wow. So I knew firsthand how different people dealt with the pain and the grief and the loss and the anger and just the extraordinary flood of emotions. And I really believe that, you know, faith, which to me is a grounding for hope in the darkest of times, helped so many people get through.
Oh, I agree with that. I thank God every day, because I nearly lost it myself. You know, I mean, I kept moving, but it was because of that faith. I would feel like he was guiding me, and I would just say, please protect me. I felt like it was very overwhelming. You know, it was a difficult time. but I channeled that pain into resilience and
That's right.
fortitude and fighting to do something positive, because I'm not good at negative things. So I was grateful in one way, because we were trying to have a family and I was trying to get pregnant, and I get chills. I almost thought I was, and I thank God every day I wasn't, because I wouldn't have been able to do that job, having a little baby without my husband, who all he wanted was to be a father. So
Yeah.
that was so important, and thank God every day I do, because what a blessing to have given the gift of Michael, and then the strength to survive the nightmare and do this work. That's what's really allowed me to live my life, because there is no
It did.
on. It's no moving on.
And then you became an example for others, Monica. I hope you know that. I mean, because as you were able to get up and keep going through the pain, other people saw that and recognized it, and it gave them some strength. I mean, I think your impact went very far, and it's one of the reasons you came to the attention of people like the governor and others, because they could see how resilient and strong you were in the face of it all.
Well, that's one of my goals, to try to help people, because I'm really concerned about the amount of suicides, and I'm really concerned, getting back to Afghanistan, that I've been watching what happened at the Capitol and the suicide rate, and then I heard something disturbing the other night, where these poor soldier men and women, our military, feel that this is the Vietnam of 2021. And we need to look, I'm getting chills just saying it. I nearly threw me over the edge, because I was like, oh no, that is so wrong. I hope, because they all went to fight for us, for our loved ones. And the last thing I want is them feeling that way. What do you think? I really want to help them. I'm thinking, how do we make sure that they don't start committing suicide over this? Because now they feel like they've went in vain.
Well, first of all, I think it's really important to recognize the, seriousness of the moment for a lot of our vets who did serve, and to listen to them. I mean, most importantly, make sure that their worries, their anxieties, their disappointments and fears are all, taken seriously, and that they have people that will listen to them and be there for them. And then I think also, if you look at it over a 20-year perspective, I do think there are some things that can be said. Maybe not everybody would hear it or believe it, but for 20 years, we were not attacked. And let's remember that part of the reason we had to go into Afghanistan after 9/11 is because the Taliban then would not break ties with Al-Qaeda. And so we could have expected more attacks on our homeland if we had not had to take military action. You can argue about, how long we should have stayed, how many we should have stayed, but I hope no vet forgets that for 20 years, neither we nor our close allies were victims of an attack from Afghanistan. And then secondly, as Secretary of State and being part of the team that advised President Obama to go after bin Laden in 2011, we could not have done that mission if we had not still been in Afghanistan. We couldn't have gotten the intelligence. We couldn't have sent the helicopters from Afghanistan. So we were able finally to bring bin Laden to justice because we were there. So there are things that people need to remember that did protect us, protect our country, protect our allies. Look at all the people who went to Afghanistan with us. They were not just there because of us. They were there because they knew if they weren't trying to stop terrorism, it would have come to England, would have gone to France, it would have gone somewhere else. So
that's true.
I do think that it's natural, given the fact that we are ending that war and we are leaving, that some vets very well might feel like it was all in vain, but I hope they remember those two things: no attacks on us and our allies, And we got bin Laden because we were able to launch an operation using intelligence from Afghanistan.
And we wouldn't have been able to do it. That's correct. Yeah.
It would have been really hard. Would have been really hard to, we could have launched a bomb, but we would have never known if that was bin Laden. We had to have, literally boots on the ground, in this case from the Navy SEALs, to take him out. And literally, remember, they took the body out, then they took the body back over to Afghanistan where the DNA was done so that we could absolutely verify that, we had gotten him. So I think of those two things. Of course, it doesn't in any way diminish the terrible loss that so many vets and their families have experienced, those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, those who were wounded, those who came home with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. We know that, and we owe it to them to keep helping in every way that we can.
Well, I'm going to try to do that as well with my podcast, because it's not just, my podcast is not just about 9/11. It's about all the things that encompass 9/11, the things,
exactly,
strength and resilience, and not just giving up and committing suicide as a way to, to easy way out. So but getting back to, I wanted to ask you this a little more personal, of course, when, I went to the Javits, when I was so excited, I voted for you. President.
Oh yeah.
And then I was there and I'm like, where is she? I was like, it was just, I just wanted to see how of course, it's very hard to, I still can't wrap my brain around it as well, because I was so excited for you. I was like, my girls were like, did you vote? Did you vote? I stood on the line. I voted. By the way, you're pretty much the last person. You're pretty much the last person I voted for. But if I'm being honest, so because I think I was very depressed after that, so I have a hard time voting now. So I wanted to see your feelings on that. Did you?
Me too. Me too.
Did you decide not to go? Because you just didn't want to deal with it, or you would have been, I didn't know. I was curious because we missed you. I was like, where is she?
It was a big shock to me too, honestly. And I wrote a whole book afterwards because I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, how did this happen? I got, 3 million more votes and something, didn't add up in any event.
I need the book. I need to get the book.
Okay. It's called What Happened. And it sort of describes what happened. And look, after Trump was elected, I wanted to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to, say, look, we have one president at a time. Let's try to support him. Let's hope that he turns out to be somebody who wants to bring the country together, not rip it apart, et cetera. But when I went to his inauguration, which I did because I thought it was the right thing to do, and heard his speech, which was so filled with violent images and so us versus them and all the rest of it, I was very upset and worried because, our country needs unification. We are so divided. And unfortunately, I think he made that so much worse. So I worked very hard to stand up against a lot of what he did. I was frankly shocked at what he said during the pandemic, injecting lye and bleach into your veins. I mean, the whole thing was almost hard to believe. And so I really am pleased that, he's no longer president, but I wish that he and the people who follow him would take a deep breath and do things like get vaccinated so we can get out of this dangerous period that we're in and we can protect our kids. My grandkids are too young to be vaccinated. So scary. They're vulnerable. And I take that personally. And so I'm hoping that we can try to bring the country together again, the way we were after 9/11. I remember that so clearly. We were so united. It took a terrible terrible event like that to unite us. I hope we don't need that. We should be united no matter what happens.
I agree with you. I think people always go back to that time when everybody was connected and nobody cared about what you looked like, what you were, what race you were, nothing. It was so unified and so
it was a really good
love. It was so much love everywhere. I mean, I remember that's part of the sustainability too, that all the love we had, and
that's right.
People just rallied around you. It was just so amazing, just like what happened. And now I look at what happened at the Capitol and I'm disrupted, because I spent a lot of time in DC. So
I know you did.
Back and seeing that it's closed off, you can't even get close to anything. It's just so sad. Like
it is. And it's our own people.
I know.
I mean, it's one thing when a sworn enemy attacks us, like Al Qaeda, and then, we come together and we go after, the bad guys in every way we can. But when our own people attack our capital, the symbol of democracy, it just absolutely boggles my mind. I don't understand it.
I can't even wrap my brain around that either. I still can't believe that. But I feel like your voice is so powerful, and I think if we keep doing, maybe we'll do another one, and we can do something for the Afghan military.
That would be great,
so that we can. I want to and talk about 9/11 and incorporate that. I just really am very worried about the suicides, because the Capitol had a lot already, 3, and then, it's going to trickle down. But I really appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to the next one. I think I'm learning what I'm doing. I'm getting excited.
You're doing great. You've got a great way about you. I want to encourage you to keep going. And
I look forward to seeing I'm bringing the book so you can sign it.
Good. I'll do it, and I want to see you and your girls.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. I'm really
all right, my friend.
A pleasure.
Sending you.
Thank you.
Lots of love. A big virtual hug.
And stay well. And stay well and safe.
Tink you. Take care.
God bless your grandbabies. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Say hello to your girls.
Yeah, yes, I will. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.